What would you say you do here?
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the goddamn customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people?
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and today you're going to talk about something that's kind of been in the conscience of people within the community for a long time. There's a tweet recently basically saying that creators that are working with characters that are people of color or characters that are female get a higher amount of scrutiny. We'll also talk about whether or not creators that are people of color or female also get that kind of scrutiny as well. And here with me to talk about that is my good friend, Fatal J. How you doing?
I'm doing absolutely wonderfully, positively well, my good friend.
Well, I'm glad you could make it. You know, we don't often do these kind of face reveals, but I don't know that we're going to need a lot of visual demonstrations for this conversation. So it'll just be me and Jay here. This is the tweet I'm talking about. But before we get into all these details, I do want to say this. This is your first time visiting the channel. You've been coming around, but you haven't made the leap yet. Today is the day, people, to subscribe to Thinking Critical YouTube. Hit the bell for notifications. Give us a big thumbs up if you enjoy this content. You want more Fatal J content? Give us an enormous thumbs down if you want me to kick that guy to the curb and not bring him back on the channel. Hopefully you'll want more. Also, Fatal J does have his own YouTube channel. There is a link in the video description. There will also be an opportunity for you to subscribe to his channel at the end of the video as well. All right, Jay. So here's the tweet. I'm gonna kind of protect the person that drafted it up because I don't want a bunch of people bombarding him with feedback or whatever. But you know, it's an interesting point. This is what they had to say. Funny how bad writing only affects people's enjoyment of female and non-white characters, huh? I've seen bad writing for Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America, all of the X-Men at once, yet none of it makes me write off these characters completely. Weird, very strange. I don't know. Are those the only characters that we see bad writing? Do you think that there's more scrutiny on non-white characters or female characters just for that factor alone?
I'm gonna be honest with you. When I pick up a comic book, I'm not too much so focused on the writer. While I'm reading through it and I'm looking at how cool the art and the story is, I don't care who's writing it. I don't care. I pretty much don't care who's drawing it as long as it's some good art. So I don't know. I just feel like that's an excuse to say, bad writing on certain characters. If you have the skill, if you have the talent, it shouldn't matter what character it is. That's just my
opinion. But do you think that people have you read a book and you're like, that was dynamite, then you just saw people crap on it, and the only explanation was that the character that was being written was a person of color or female, and it had to be that?
Yeah, I've seen that before, and you know what? I don't pay those people any mind, man. You know, it's just a lot of people just want drama and have these type of agendas, and just shut up and just enjoy the book. Man, I'm getting sick and tired of this stuff, man. Nah, man. It says, funny how bad writing only affects people's enjoyment of female and non-white characters. It doesn't matter if it's a non-white character or it's a white character. You know? If you talented, you can make it work for non-white or white. Or whoever either Spider-Man or Moon Knight or whoever. You know? That's basically what I'm saying.
The three characters that I've on here been questioning the quality of the writing on for a very long time, for over a year now, are Batman with Tom King, obviously, Superman with Brian Michael Bendis, and Dan Slott's take on Iron Man. I think they're all awful. Those are three white creators on three white characters, and I think they're bad.
Yeah,
I don't go into a title being like, well, this is a black superhero. You know, it's Black Lightning and Batman and the Outsiders. It must be awful. You know,
yeah.
I don't imagine a lot of people do that. They just assume that the writing is going to be bad because the lead is a female or the lead is a male character. I do think a lot of female characters don't traditionally sell well, so they don't put the high impact, high quality writers on those books. So I agree. Think less
I agree.
lower quality kind of across the board, generally speaking.
Wow, and
with
but
a few
that's
exceptions.
just business at the end of the day. Why would you put your number one star on a weak character? Unless now Marvel has done this in the past. You will put a hot writer on a low level character to bring that stock up just a little bit. But business is business. You put your hottest artist on the hottest character. You put your hottest writer on the hottest character. Your mediocre characters, you put mediocre writers and artists on there. I mean, that's just common sense in business.
But, sometimes they do put a high quality writer. I'll go back to 2018, 2019's Killmonger series. Obviously, Eric Killmonger was a kind of a big deal in the Black Panther movie. They put Brian Hill on the series. Juan Ferrer, two men of color were the creators. Obviously, Killmonger, not a hero, but he is a character. He's a black character, and the quality was off the charts. It was in my top 5 comics of the entire year for 2019.
Yeah, and that's
because they put a good, competent writer that knew the character and married him with the dynamic artist.
Exactly, and it's kind of like what they did with Frank Miller and Daredevil. Daredevil numbers was horrible, and they put Frank Miller on there, and it turned it completely around. But what I'm saying is this: it's about the talent, man. It's not about the character. Maybe I'm looking at this article wrong. Maybe I'm looking at it weird. But
it's a tweet.
Well, tweet whatever. Maybe I'm looking at it crazy, but bad writing is because you suck. Good writers because you're talented at what you do. Writing is a skill.
I believe what the person that wrote this is trying to say, that people only see bad writing with female and non-white characters, and they disregard them because of that writing. If they were white characters, even if the writing was bad, they just keep coming back. I don't think it really. It has to do with the tier of the character. People will sit there and keep buying Batman or Spider-Man or Superman just because they have complete runs and things like that. Those are, characters with 80 years of history that have huge fan bases. And some people will just stick with runs, and not just some, a lot, on some of these higher tier creators. You look at Captain America, who right now is being written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and people would probably like, I'm not a big fan of him as a comic writer, but I don't really cover it here on the channel that much because in my mind, Ta-Nehisi Coates is probably doing what Marvel wanted him to do. I think it is bad comic book writing, but I don't necessarily fault him. I kind of fault Marvel for hiring him because he's not really a comic book writer. But it's not like Captain America sales are burning up the charts with Ta-Nehisi Coates, take on the character that is generally disliked kind of across the board. People drop the series, even though he's a white character.
But I'm really looking at this tweet now. To me, it seemed like the female books, the female-driven characters, those get the most love out of any books these days, in my opinion. I've been reading some really good female-led comic books lately.
Yeah, which ones?
Witchblade, Phantom.
But those are indie books. Stuff, She's talking about big 2 kind of stuff. Your Wonder Woman sales are down, but they put G. Willow Wilson on the character. She's not really a comic book writer. And then they followed it up. Yeah. With another unimpressive writer, Mariko Tamaki, also not a very good comic book writer. You look at some of the higher known female characters. Storm doesn't have a solo book right now.
They're only putting those agenda type writers on these books. And let me tell you something, the hardcore comic book fans don't care about that crowd. To be honest, we just want a good story, a good slugfest, some good art. It's not science. It's not science to understand what we want. Why do you have to put these freaking agendas and have this female emotional stuff in there? And nothing against the women at all, but when you look at your hardcore base, it's males. It's geeky, nerdy males that enjoy these books. So that's why these books are going down. Marvel has been pushing Captain Marvel down our throats for the longest, and those books are tanking. They're trying to make Captain Marvel the leader of everything Marvel, and it's just not working out because you're giving us crap.
Because they're not putting Donny Cates on Captain Marvel. They keep putting low tier writers like
low tier writers,
Kelly Thompson on it.
Yeah,
if they put Donny Cates on Captain Marvel, I'm certain the sales would go up and the quality of the book would go up.
Because Donny Cates is creative. He's talented. Now, when you put the average Joe lady on these books, somebody who don't even have love for comic books, it's going to be bad. It's going to suck because they don't have love for it. They're putting their feelings and emotions and agendas into these books, and people do not want to read that crap. They'll just throw it down the drain, throw it in the trash can, or not pick it up at all.
Now, Marvel does they have like a good young female creator. She is a woman of color, Eve Ewing, who there was like a petition because she looked like Riri Williams, but it turns out she's a pretty talented comic book writer. But she's been on Ironheart the whole time. That's not a character with any history or any cachet really with readers. They need to give her the Captain Marvel book or put her something on something a bit more high profile so she can kind of build her reputation up. But she's been saddled with the nothing character.
Man, you had some dope women back in the day that used to write comic books. I think what was her name?
Louise Simonson, Anna Senti.
What about Barbara Cassell? What was it? Wasn't that her name? That lady right there, she could write. She wrote so good, I thought she was a man. And please, ladies, I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I'm just saying these women back in the day in the 90s and early 2000s, they understood how to write comic books. We don't want this emotional, female-driven stuff. I don't want that stuff in my books. Just give us the stuff we want. It's not hard. It's not hard to understand a comic book reader. Keep us interested. Keep us coming back. That's what we want. Keep us fiending for these books and these stories. Number one, have dope art.
For the most part, the scrutiny comes into it with the quality. It doesn't really matter what the color of the character or the sex of the character is.
It doesn't matter.
The cachet as far as how many people show up. And also with the creators, if you come out on social media and this is going to be I'm taking Captain Marvel in a feminist agenda kind of way or something like that. Obviously, there's going to be increased scrutiny because you've already identified what people don't want to hear to begin with. But I think for the most part, if you write something cool, people are going to like it no matter what.
Watch this, Wes, and I'm glad you said that last sentence. Spawn is what color? What race is he?
He's black, dude.
He's black. People didn't know that for a few issues. When they found out he was black, guess what happened? The book didn't tank. People kept reading. I can't believe it. They kept reading. But that's my point. That's my point. When you got talent on all ends of the spectrum on the book, when you got great artists, great writer, people don't care about that bullcrap about non-white and being female. Period, point blank.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, you're a father. I have a 5-year-old, and it's just something with Western entertainment right now. Like he no longer wants to watch like Western cartoons or anything. Like we were watching, Muppet Babies, and he got tired of it because every episode there's this like a weird hidden agenda message in it. And now he wants to watch like Larva Island and Voltron, these things that are kind of produced over in Asia, because it's just exciting stories. He got tired of Vampirella and some of these other things. The cartoon or the entertainment is the message, and there's a little story into it. And I think that's one of the things that's driving people away from comics. And a lot of times with these characters that this person is saying, well, it's because they're female or non-white. Well, it's because they're kind of casting the creators to create these stories with messages rather than creating cool comic stories that maybe have a message in them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And if it does have a message in it, apply it to the reader, to the audience. Speak about something about being social, not being socially awkward or something. I don't know, something that have to do with the geek and the nerds, not something that this SJW female woman got going on. about something like the Me Too movement or something. We don't want to read that. We don't read that.
It's like Antifa loving Captain America, no matter who wrote it, whether it was Ta-Nehisi Coates or Scott Snyder, was never going to be a big hit because it doesn't fit the character or the character's history.
That's true.
It's not even divisive. It just isn't liked.
People don't like it. Stop writing it. That's why comics is going. The sales are not good these days, man, because y'all got these crappy writers. I'm gonna say it, Wes, because you ain't gonna say it. They are crappy, low tier writers and artists. Get your stuff together.
Look at on here the screen. One of the examples of Spider-Man. Spider-Man had a terrible run by Dan Slott, and you think about what did Dan Slott do that was so terrible? Basically, he turned Spider-Man into Iron Man. Peter Parker and Tony Stark are opposite ends of the spectrum character. They are not equivalent. And he tried to turn Peter Parker into this big billionaire mogul type character, which fit Tony Stark Iron Man, and people rejected it. It wasn't because Peter Parker was white. It wasn't because Dan Slott was white or black or whatever. It was a terrible take on the character, and it was widely rejected.
You want to know why? You want to know why? Because the hardcore comic book fans understand the big dog of Marvel is Spider-Man, not freaking Tony Stark. Tony Stark only rose to popularity because of the freaking movies. When you boil down to it, Spider-Man always been the number one man. At the end of the day, Iron Man, Tony Stark should be following Spider-Man, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, if it's an Avengers book, typically it's Iron Man or Captain America leading the way. But Spider-Man is the Marvel flagship character.
He's the flagship character. Just like because Superman is the flagship character.
And he has undeniable traits in history that align with him.
Yeah.
What Dan Slott did with the character was groundbreaking because it didn't fit the character. If it had been groundbreaking within the confines of the character, it would have been liked. And that's where the bad writing comes off the rails. The take on Captain America, putting Black Panther in space. What a weird idea. He should be in Wakanda.
I look at comic books as movies. A writer is the director of that movie. If you got a sucky, bad writer, you might as well throw that book in the trash and don't even try. You got to have a talented writer. Writing is an art. It's a style. You have to be talented. So if you get an old average Joe off the street and say, hey, I'm going to put you on this new Spider-Man book we got going on, get ready to lose some money.
Yeah. You look at, obviously with X-Men, it's one of the things here. And Jonathan Hickman is doing something very weird with X-Men. It was initially really hot because Ten of Swords, House of X, Powers of 10 was a great story, but it's really weird for X-Men, and people are quickly kind of dropping off of this Dawn of X line because the characters don't feel right. They don't feel true to who the X-Men are in the history. It feels like this is Magneto's dream of what the X-Men and mutants are. And it's kind of driving people away. It just took a little while because initially it was hot and people enjoyed it, but it always catches up to you. If you're not being true to the characters, people will eventually fall off. If you're not writing fun, dynamic stories, people will fall off. Right now, X-Men has been meandering, and it's almost across the line, except for like X-Force and Wolverine,
And that hurts my soul, man, because the best team book Marvel always had, was X-Men. I choose X-Men over Avengers any day because you can do so many great stories with all the members of the X-Men, and it just really hurts my heart to see these bad stories. And it's just like
I can tell you right now, if they wanted Captain Marvel to sell, put Donny Cates on it. You know another name that you could probably put on there that would fit the character because he likes to do cosmic stuff? Put Al Ewing on it. Not my favorite writer, but he's certainly got the numbers with what he did with the Immortal Hulk. I think he would.
You know who I will put on a book? You know who I will put on the X-Men book? Chris Claremont. Claremont.
Well, you're not taking that away from me. I'm talking about Captain Marvel here, but stop. You're derailing the conversation, Jake. Come on.
I'm sorry, man. You said X-Men and I got excited, man. I hate Captain Marvel.
I meant to say Captain Marvel. You want Captain Marvel?
Not the old Captain Marvel that used to be in the X-Men books, but this Captain Marvel we got here, the butch hairstyle Captain Marvel that don't take no crap from men, Captain Marvel. That character is manufactured and people will always reject it. Period. That character
They
has
need to put a good creator on it that can flesh out the character and keep elements from the past of Carol Danvers, flesh it in with the character and make her somebody
Wes,
people will enjoy.
You're gonna need Wes, if you want that character to be popular, the Captain Marvel we have now, you better have somebody that's extremely talented because people hate that character. The sales show that people hate that character. They do not like Captain Marvel.
Mediocre to less than mediocre writer time and time again on the character, and now it shows in the sales. People aren't interested anymore. You know, if some of these, if you want Black Panther to sell, put Christopher Priest back on the book. Put Brian Hill on the book if you can go find him. It doesn't have to be a black creator. Put Donny Cates on Black Panther. Guarantee you it'll sell more. You know, go find out. You know, bring Scott Snyder over. He's a good action comic guy.
Yeah.
You know, just because the character is black does not mean the creator needs to be black. Just because the character is female does not mean the character needs to be female. Just because the character is white does not mean the creator needs to be white. Stop casting the writers based on surface traits. Let them pitch, and the people have the best ideas for the characters. Let them write the stories, and the sales will go up, and this person will stop complaining about how people only complain about female and non-white characters, which I don't believe is true because I complain about Batman, Superman, Iron Man more than anything.
When I read this tweet, that's somebody who's never been into comics. I guarantee you. That is an outsider coming in, speaking their mind about stupid stuff that doesn't even exist.
I think this is somebody that's really invested heavily, probably in a female character, that is really sensitive anytime somebody critiques that character and has a blinders on to whenever anyone critiques another character.
Okay, well, I'm gonna speak for the black comic book readers. I have never in my entire life read a comic book and then matched it up with, okay, he's black, this character is black. Yes. I've never said that.
Yeah,
That's never been in my head.
You remember when Men in Black came out?
Yeah.
2 leads, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. I did not want to be Tommy Lee Jones. I wanted to be Will Smith because he was cool.
That's what I mean. And then look, put it back on me. My favorite superhero is Batman. He's not black. He's not black.
No, clearly you couldn't identify her or.
I watched Black Panther movie. It wasn't my favorite Marvel movie, even though I like it.
Jay, I don't know, man.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
You're upsetting people. All right, Jay. Well, this is probably going to take us to the end of this conversation. You know, obviously, this is talked about, ad nauseum. Do people get overly criticized just because of the color or the sex of the character, or even the color or the sex of the creator? Honestly, I just think it comes down to quality. If you take a mediocre character but you create a great story, people are going to notice. If you take a high tier character and you make a very mediocre story, people are going to notice. It's all quality always wins out in the end.